Time now for the best in mystery. Tonight, Mystery Classic stars Ralph Richardson in The Tale.
Some retribution or murder. I don't know. I'll tell you about you.
Now, Joseph Conrad's The Tale, starring Ralph Richardson.
Outside the large student window, the late evening light was dying out stillness. In the long room, the irresistible tide of the night had run into those distant parts of it, with the whispering of our voices. Interrupted and passionate and renewed, it died away with the dying light. I could see only the strange oval of her upturned face, the pale immobility of her hand against the dark of her dress. Oh, we might be better. Yes, but wasn't the hope in that love? At last, she turned her head away.
You can only hurt ourselves going on like this, you know that.
Oh, my darling.
Tell me something.
Oh, what would I have to tell you?
Why not tell me a tale?
Tell you?
Yes, why not?
Why not?
You used to tell your pencil and professional tales very well at one time. You had a sort of art. That summer, the days before the war.
Oh, really? But now you see the war is going on.
It could be a tale not of this world.
If you want to tell it rather as a better word, let's call back someone who's already gone there.
No, I don't mean that. I mean some other world in the universe, not in heaven.
Oh, I'm relieved. If you forget that I've only 5 days leave.
Yes. And I've also taken 5 days leave from my duty.
I like that word,
What word?
duty.
It is horrible sometimes.
That's because you think it's matter. But as to this other world, who's going to look for it? And the tale that's in it?
You.
I? Have you really? Really that world, then? There was once upon a time a naval commanding officer and a Scandinavian. It was a world of seas and continents and islands.
Like the earth.
Yeah. A war was going on in that world, and many young men in it, mostly in wardrooms and messes, used to say to each other, "That war was better than no war at all." That sounds flippant, doesn't it?
Yes.
Let's get back to our commanding officer, who, of course, commanded the ship, the warship. And he used to be sent out with her along certain coasts to see what he could see, just that. Sometimes he had some preliminary information to help him, and sometimes he hadn't. And in the early days of the war, the ship was sailing in northern waters, steaming along her beach, in sight of a rocky, dangerous coast that stood out in painted black like an Indian drawing on gray paper. Anything to report? No, sir. Not so much as a fishing boat. Nothing is sailing on shore there. The coast got moving deserted. I don't mind about the coast is peculiar and interesting. You know what used to amaze me? Is the way that the war never seemed to change. Just as tame as fancy water, neither more friendly nor more hostile. It is possible to believe that that same horizon has now become one great circular ambush. It is until you see a ship blow up all of a sudden and flop under almost before you know what's happened to her. In some ways, one almost envies the story. At the end, Out there, ahead, on the starboard bow. Quick, man, hard aport. It may be a mine. Ahead of the ship, something was floating and rolling lazily on the sea. Something, but what? The ship's course altered to pass the object's close. It was necessary to have a good look at it, and to see what one could see, close, but without touching it. It was not advisable to come in contact with objects of any form, floating carelessly about. Small wreckage, perhaps. But there couldn't be any wreckage here. No. The last reported torpedoes were a long way westward. But one never knows. There may have been others that weren't reported, gone with all hands. Oh. Seems to be a barrel. Here, have a look through the glasses, sir. Yeah. Pretty obvious proof of what we suspected all along. The certain neutrals round here haven't been quite so neutral as they should have been. U-boats. Anything with stores of U-boats. Somewhere not so very far off, either. This is why leave the evidence lying about like this. Why, indeed. Almost looks as though it had been done on purpose. What on earth for? More probably it was a razor strike. Well, it's proof of what we were pretty certain of before, and plain, too. And much good didn't do it. The party that might have been. The U-boat exit to kill. And the neighboring neutral, sitting away to the eastward, ready with a pack of lies. Oh, they won't have to lie very much. Fellows like that, unless caught in the act, are pretty safe. Yeah, I suppose they can afford to suffer. They probably don't even cut off blacks with a bit of evidence left behind. It's a game where practice makes you bold and successful too. Oh, well, perhaps this will be once too often. The fog's coming up again. A solid white wall of it. In 5 minutes, we were in the thick of it. Great convolutions of vapor flew over, whirling about our masts and funnels. It looked as if they were beginning to melt. So they vanished. The ship was stopped, all sounds ceased. The very fog became lacing, growing denser as it hollowed with amazing downward mobility. Men of their faces lost sight of each other. Footsteps sounded faintly, rare voices, impersonal and remote, died away without resonance. A blind, white stillness took possession of the world. Well, what do we do now? Here, wait a minute. The fog's lifting. Our own catches. Look, there's the shoreline again. Ah, that's a bit better. Right. Now I know where I am again. They're going in for. Yes, it's all right. I know this stick of coast like the back of my hand. That steep there is the southern shore of a fjord. We're going to ease round into it and sit tight till the weather moves. The painted sea will make them drop anchor. Keep the legsmen sticking out. Slowly, with infinite caution and patience, they crept in closer and closer, seeing no more of the cliff than the effervescent dark loom with a narrow border of angry foam at its foot. At the moment of anchoring, the fog was so thick, all they could see there might have been 1,000 miles out in the open sea. Yet the shelter of the land could be felt. There was a peculiar quality in the stillness of the air, very safe, very elusive. The wash of the ripple against the encircling land reached their ears with mysterious, sudden poison. Well, that's that. There's about half a mile between us and the other side of the fjord. If we stay here till the fog lifts, we get a chance to see what they're doing again. Well, it seems to be lifting already, sir. Back there, toward the open sea, I drove it down. Quite a bright set. Here, wait a minute. What's that? Give me the glasses. I could almost swear. Well, you're right, then. There's another ship out there, lying at anchor. Yes, but hang on it. It was the wonder we didn't run back into her when we came in. Yes. Certainly. Why didn't you make herself known? Rung her bell. She must have heard us coming in. We came in pretty quietly, admittedly, but they must have heard our listening at least. We couldn't have passed them more than 50 yards off. Right. What you might call a close shave. We never heard a sound from it. Fellows on board must have been holding their breath. I rather think that's what they were doing, sir. Had we better take a look at them, sir? I think we better have. At first, I supposed he was just a priester standing still. I'm not so sure the more I think about it. In fact, I've a lot of thoughts here. Lot of boats in the boarding party across there. I want to know a little more about that ship. All right, sir? The boat was lowered and moved away into the fog. The white swirl of vapor that lay on the water followed it up as though it had been sunk. Only the shadowy outline of the misty ship remained afloat above the drifting whiteness. For a quarter of an hour was utter silence, and then the boarding party returned, appearing suddenly alongside. The officer in charge came up to make his report. Well, what is she, a coaster?
No, sir, a stranger, a neutral.
No, really? Well, tell us a little bit more about it, then. What's he doing here, anyway?
Oh, they said they've had engine trouble, so they stood in here to keep out of the weather.
Did they? Well, how did they get in here if they had engine trouble?
I asked them that, sir. They said they were drifting about in the fog for 3 days, and the wind got up, and they simply ran before it when they saw where it was taking them.
What about the ship's papers?
Now, papers in perfect order, sir. I checked them carefully. We sailed from Gothenburg last Monday, 8 days ago, with a cargo from Newcastle. General merchandise, all fitting with the manifest. From what I could hear, they said she's quite in the clear.
She was, eh?
Well, the master said he didn't know where they were, said they'd been drifting about so long in the fog, he didn't have any good idea of his position. He asked me for a bearing, but I didn't give him one till I'd checked with you, sir.
Good. Just one thing. What about her engines now? Are they still disabled?
No, sir, she has steam on them.
I see. Number one, you know, I think you were right after all. They were holding their breath as we passed them. They certainly were. I tell you, number one, I don't like it. I don't like it one little bit. Somewhere around here, we know very well that German U-boat has been restocked, probably by a neutral vessel. Here in this fjord, we find a neutral vessel hiding away in the fog. But her story was perfectly plausible, just a little bit too plausible to my mind. What did you make of the crew, Johnson?
Oh, the usual lot, sir. The engineers, quite typical, I should say. Very full of the way they repaired their engines. The mate a bit sturdy, perhaps. Not much English. The master, rather an impressive sort of a fellow in his words, typically Scandinavian, civil rough with circles and vinces. Seemed to be recovering from a regular bout of it.
Oh, did they? What instructions did you give him?
I told him I couldn't give him permission to proceed, sir. He said he wouldn't dare to move his ship for own length out in a fog like this, permission or no permission. I left the man on board all the same.
Quite right. Well, keep an eye on her as much as you can with all this talk about. You keep your ears open.
Aye, sir.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit too suspicious, but I can't help feeling that this very plausible ship may very well have been the one that had a rendezvous with that U-boat out there. But you could never prove it, sir. Well, I don't know. I want to have a look at it myself. But from the report we've had, I'm afraid you couldn't even make a case for reasonable suspicion, sir. Could you? I'd go on board all the same. Must another boarding party. All right, sir. What did I expect to find? Well, I couldn't have told anybody, not even myself. I went aboard. The master, large, robust Scandinavian, led the way to the chart room.
Not very comfortable, but while I am at sea, this is where I live.
Aha.
So take a seat. What can I do for you?
Oh, it's nothing. It's merely a routine check. Your papers appear to be in order.
No, of course. If it had not been for trouble with the engine, we would have been in England, in Newcastle.
Instead of which,
So we are here.
aha.
No, what I mean is, I don't know where we are. We leave Göteborg last Monday, last week, and Tuesday I am somewhere south of here, and my engine breaks down. It drifts in the fog, I don't know where, and when the wind gets up, and we put in here. This end has been nothing but fog again.
Ah, so you've been anchored here all that time.
That's right, 4 days. Only enough to drive a man out of his mind. Well, and it's like this is my own. Your officer has seen the papers. You think much that you can do for yourself, just an old cargo boat, just a bare living for my family. Those are the pictures up there.
Yes, you'll be making a fortune for your family with this old ship before you finish.
Easy.
I mean, out of the war.
Well, the boy. Well, but of that, you wouldn't be angry about it, would you? Oh, you are too much of a gentleman. We didn't bring this board on you.
No, I suppose you didn't.
Well, and suppose we sat down and cried. What good would that be? Well, let those cry who made all the trouble. Well, time is money, you say in English, sir. Well, this time is money. Yes, it is money, all right.
Well, I'm glad you're satisfied. Well, I suppose you've made it perfectly clear that the war's not your fault and why you're here. Your logbook confirms that very minutely. Of course, a logbook may be cooked. I say a logbook may be cooked, fish, used as an alibi. Nothing easier.
Oh. But you can't suspect me of anything. My cargo is made out for an English port in Newcastle.
True.
Now, how can you suspect me? And what is it you suspect me of doing?
Well, I haven't said that I do suspect you. What makes you think I might?
But that is what you said about the logbook.
Well, I find you lying here with steam up, hiding in the fog.
But my engines have been repaired, so at last I can get steam up again.
Why didn't you make yourself known when you heard us coming into the field?
I was in the staff room. I hear nothing at all.
I wondered what he'd do if I teased him to his face for being what I suspected he was. I turned away in disgust and went up on the deck, but I had the crew mustered formally for the inspection. You the chief engineer?
Yeah.
What's been the trouble with your engine? Your engines broke down, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. The main... the main seat became loose. And the steam was not right in the cylinder. Also, the condenser chamber was wrong.
Where was this?
A week ago, last Tuesday.
You the mate?
Yeah.
Let me see your papers.
Here.
Where did you join this ship?
Göteborg?
When?
3 months ago.
This is your first trip to Hull?
Yeah, I'm bound for Hull. We are bound for Newcastle.
I could discover no flaw in the logbook story. At last I returned to the chart room. The master still lingered there. The church had been drinking while I was away on deck.
John.
I guess you're wondering at my proceedings. Though I'm not detaining you, am I? I mean, you wouldn't care to move in this fog.
I don't know where I am.
Earlier today I saw something out there that makes me suspect that not so very long since a U-boat was contacted and restocked. Perhaps by a neutral vessel.
Oh, I see. But you only suspect that. You have no proof.
Oh, well, perhaps not. But I also have my information. That's why I happen to be here at all. Shooting's too good for people that confuse neutrality in that sort of manner.
Yes, perhaps.
No, there's no perhaps about it.
No, you are right. But what about the sensors? You better kill off that lot. Have you ever seen a poor man on one side and a bag of gold on the other? Oh, of course, I couldn't be senses. I haven't nerves for it. I don't know if there's nothing to me. I just talk openly for once.
Yes, I'm listening to you.
Well, now that I know you have no suspicions at all. You don't know what a poor man is. I do. I'm poor myself. This old ship here in Mudcreek is mortgaged to barely no more. Well, of course, I wouldn't have the nerve, but a man who has the nerve, he doesn't take the boat, looks like other cargo packages, barrels, TV, copper tubes, whatnot. He doesn't see it working. He doesn't believe it, but he sees the gold. That's real. Oh, of course, nothing would induce me. I suffer from an internal disease. I would go crazy with anxiety or take to drink or something. No, the risk is so great, it would be ruin.
People forget.
Whatever it is not into me, I am not one of those.
No, of course not. Well, I'm going to carry you fellows off this coast at once, all of you. Now, begin with you. You must leave in half an hour.
Well, leaving this fog.
Yes, you'll have to go in this fog.
But I don't know where I am. I tell you, the 3 days I drifted lost in the fog.
You do know how to get out, don't you? Well, I'm giving you your course. You steer south by east, half east, for about 4 miles. Then you'll be clear to hold to the westward to your port. The weather will clear up before very long.
But please, in weather like this, I tell you, I haven't the nerve to do it.
I'm ordering you to do it. Unless you want me.
No, I tell you, I have had enough of this. Bored.
You'll leave within the next half hour. You've seen, and I've given you your course.
But please, I do not know where I am.
I've given you your course.
Very well. I have no choice.
I returned to my ship, leaving the master standing there as if he were rooted to the deck. Within the next 10 minutes, I heard their anchor being weighed. Throwing steadily in the fog, she steamed away out of the fjord on to her given course. Oh, my dear, that's the end of the tale.
That you let him do.
Now listen. That course would lead the ship straight on to the rocks beyond the mouth of the fjord. He steamed out, ran into them, and went down. So, he had spoken the truth. He did not know where he was.
But surely...
I prove nothing other way. It would have been the only truth in all this story. The truth will be driven out by a menacing terror. Nothing more.
And you knew?
Oh, yes, I gave that question. It seemed to me the supreme test. I believe... No, I don't believe I don't know. At the time I was thin, they all went down. I don't know whether I've done retribution or murder. I don't know. I shall never know.
Poor.
I shall never know.